Welcome to the FBAA's Top Broker Podcast for mortgage brokers looking to take their business to the next level.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Top Broker Podcast. Jaden Vecchio here. So this week we've got part 2 of our interview with Martin Grunstein, the professional speaker on customer service. Now, Martin, like I said in last week's episode, is someone that I just have an immense amount of respect for. His ideas are incredible. Like just some really simple things that you can implement in your business. There's a couple of concepts he covers today, talking about analog being the new digital. You really need to stop and listen to that. And just simple ways that we can reframe conversations and get better customer outcomes and more referrals. You're going to love it. You're going to take away a lot from this. And I'm sure this isn't going to be the first time you're going to listen to this episode. So without any delay, let's kick off. Martin, welcome back. Part 2. Thank you so much for coming back.
It's a pleasure to chat to you. Let's get going.
Yeah, great. So, we started the conversation, or we ended the last conversation just on, ways that brokers can differentiate themselves from the banks. But really, you pulled that apart even further and just spoke about how brokers need to even just start looking at themselves and differentiating from other brokers. So can we continue on that? Like you mentioned, the experience, the power of a guarantee. What are some ways, some practical things that we can actually do to differentiate?
Okay, well, this is one of the things I really want to challenge to brokers to think about this. I think if you look at the points of view, you've got the website. Say I come to your website and I'm Googling and I may not have a relationship with a broker. Your website has to tell me why I should choose you. I see a lot of about us pages talk about the company history. Oh, Bill used to be a bank manager, but now he's passionate about customer service and kittens. No one gives us stuff, right? All I want to know is why I should choose you rather than your competitor, be that a broker or a bank. And what I think the broker should have on their website is a why choose us page, which talks about all these things that differentiate them from their competition. Years of experience, what they give back to the community, the volume of loans they've transacted, all of that sort of stuff should be on a why choose us page. The other thing that should be on their website is a page that says what our clients say. Right? TripAdvisor changed the world. I no longer believe what people say to me when they sell. I'm cynical as hell. I'm much more likely to believe what a customer says about you than what you say about yourself. When I work in all industries, I have these people saying, what differentiates me is I give the best service. Guess what? Everybody says that. And why should I believe you and not your competitor? But the testimony that's coming out that says, if I hear from you, Jaden, you tell me you're a great broker and you listen well and you care, I'm not going to believe it. But if your clients say, look, Jaden was fantastic, he took all the stress out of this for me, I'd recommend him to anyone, I'm going to have much more credibility in that coming out of their mouth than coming out of yours. And I think these are going to be the things that differentiate. And the more cynical the consumer, the more I need the testimony, and the more experience I've had, especially if I've been let down by banks or brokers in the past, the more I need to know why you're not going to be the same as those other people. And a lot of that can be communicated very simply, on the website.
Yeah, well, even after you presented the FBAA function, we even tried it's been implemented in the business, just doing a callback guarantee. So calling back within 4 business hours. And we guarantee that for all our customers. And even just putting it out there, the difference it makes is huge, because then they know we don't have the case where customers will call you 10 times in 10 minutes because they're freaking out. They know they're going to get called back and they know it's going to happen. So what are have you seen other good guarantees maybe in other industries or people that have used that even just as a differentiator?
Well, I think this industry, the guarantees are more important in what are perceived as poor communication industries. I started doing it in the real estate industry because nobody believes what a real estate agent says, because most of the time they make promises they don't keep. And that's where I started implementing that, 15 years ago. For real estate agents, look, I'm paid to tell you I'm good. My clients aren't. Here's testimonials. By the way, if I don't return your phone calls within 3 hours, take $200 off our fees. Go ask my competitor if he's prepared to do that. And if he isn't, well, why would you believe anything he sells? So the differentiator that comes to the guarantee, I don't think the mortgage broking industry is perceived as poorly as the real estate industry. But if you take the stress thing, the fact that you're prepared to put your money where your mouth is, I believe in itself becomes a differentiator. And interestingly enough, it's a differentiator that has high perceived value but low actual cost. In fact, it costs you nothing if you return phone calls anyway, but there is high perceived value in the marketplace. And that's my challenge, what I'm saying to brokers. I want you to look at the things you do that deliver high perceived value to your clients throughout the transaction or give them a reason to come to you, but they don't necessarily have to be of high cost for you, and guarantees is a perfect example of it. One area I think that is neglected from my experience in the broking, and not broking, but a lot of industries, but in broking, is the lack of follow-up after the sale. One of the things I find absolutely staggering is the poor follow-up. You know, in most cases, the client is never even thanked after the sale, and there is no recognition and keeping in touch and making sure they're happy, after everything has gone through. And this is the time where they're most likely to refer you to other people, And the best example I had, I was running a customer service workshop in the 90s, and a lady told me a story. She said she was test driving a Lexus. While test driving the car, the salesperson asked her a lot of questions. One of them was, what type of music do you like? She didn't give it any thought. And then after she picked up the car, what was sitting on the front seat were $200 worth of CDs and her favourite music. It was about 6 months after she bought the car that I asked her, how many people you told about the CDs in the last 6 months? She said, about 100. I said, how many people you told about the car? She said, no one initially, but every person I told about the CDs wanted to know what car it was. And I told 100 people how happy I was with my Lexus and where I bought it. And I challenged brokers, what are the CDs with your Lexus that stimulate that loyalty and referral process?
Wow. Well, even one thing that we've recently put into implementation sort of for after settlement is we were doing the NPS, like a net promoter score, just finding out what customers' feedback about us was. But one thing we'd forgotten to ask or just forgotten to see was how they were finding the bank. So it's that simple thing where you're like, well, it's the bank, the bank's the bank sort of thing. We sent you there. But if we're sending people to a bank that's rubbish, or they hate the internet banking, or they don't like the post-settlement process, or they just generally hate it, it reflects on us. So yeah, I think, that's potentially the CDs, and it's much more than that. But I think even your point, just going back and recognizing people, you're right. There's a lot of people that they might call someone on settlement and say, hey, thanks, see you later, put you on our mailing list and we won't talk again. But yeah, what are we doing to follow up after settlement? Just say thank you, how much it means to us as small business owners and operators, the fact that they went through us and did business with us.
Yeah, and that's on a basic human level. The interesting thing, in the context of what we were talking about before, you get much better testimonials when you suck up with CDs. It's just a natural psychological reciprocity because people have an expectation level. So if they transact the property and afterwards you give a gift or whatever it happens to be and stuff like that, and then you follow them up and say, look, just want to make sure everything's okay, tell me how I can stay in touch with you with respect to the bank. And then they say, oh, yeah, well, fantastic. Well, would you mind putting that in writing, or would you like to speak into my iPhone just to give me an impression of what you think about the service? You get the most fantastic testimonials when the last impression in your mind was to thank you after all the hard work you've done to make their life easy.
That's huge. Well, and like, I guess even further down that, like, that's obviously an easy way to get referrals and repeat business. But any other things that you've seen maybe in other industries that have helped them? Like, I guess it's just further that staying in touch with people. But yeah, any other ways to stimulate and repeat referral business for brokers?
Yeah, the best one I've done, and I did this probably about 25, 30 years ago in my business. A lot of people send out Christmas cards, Christmas greetings. I send people Happy November 27 cards, right? I got a card printed up, says Happy November 27 on the front. When you open it up, it says, I'm sure you get a lot of cards wishing you Happy December 25. How many do you receive wishing you Happy November 27? Well, happy November, right? Now, I write a personal note to each of my clients and the people I haven't met yet that I want to crack and do business with in the next 12 months, and I follow them up. All of my clients get hundreds of greetings on Christmas. Every one of them gets only one card on November 27, and every single one of them remembers exactly who it is. Now, I've been doing the statistics for years. I follow up my Happy November 27 cards in December, because December's a dead month for me. No one has conferences or training there. So I spend the first 3 weeks of December just making how's things phone calls, following up. Hey, did you have a Happy November 27? Just wanted to keep in touch. Hi. And I get more leads from following up my November 27 card than I do from anything else I do in marketing of my business. And I believe I'm challenging brokers to do the same thing. In the real estate industry and the broking industry, if you're talking about the transaction of property, what I say to them is, say, for example, as a CDs or Lexus, the mortgage broker maybe gives them a house plant, to celebrate in the new house. Thanks very much, for doing that. By the way, here's a plant that can live, and I hope you're happy in the new house. All right, 12 months later, send a happy anniversary card to the plant. Not to the client, to the plant. To the plant, the Fitz Jones Way, Mount Gravatt, whatever. dear client, it's been a year since you've been in your house and we miss you. I'm going to give your owners a call in the next couple of days just to see how you're getting along, right? You pick up the phone, you ring up the client and say, hey, did the plant get the card? But you have a chat with them and then you say to them, by the way, do you know any other people who might be interested in dealing with a mortgage broker who got the same good service you got? And you ask them every year until they move again. This is the basic stuff that's not being done. There's a lot of cliches out there, in the marketplace. Now, when I tell people why do I do it on November 27th, well, it's because it's my wedding anniversary and it's the only way I don't forget it, by sending out 400 cards, right? But the whole element is you've got to give people reasons to justify the relationship with you in the first place. And then you've got to stay in contact after the sale to give them reasons to refer to you, and that becomes a trigger mechanism. Your job as a broker is not just to satisfy your clients, is you've got to provide the trigger mechanisms for them to tell others about you, because people have got better things to do than talk about their mortgage broker. But the CDs with the Lexus allow me to do that, and that's the metaphor I want the brokers to be implementing in their business.
That's amazing. Because, you're right. Like, a lot of times, and I've been guilty of it in the past, you just get lazy, you stick some interest rates on your newsletter, you might send a birthday text message, but it's pretty, hey, Martin, happy birthday from Jaden, your broker. Like, no one really engages with that. But, the CDs on the Lexus, the plant, the November 27 card, it's engaging with people on a level that's, it's more than personal. It's actually, it's so good. That's amazing. It's really.
But if you look at it from a customer's perspective and you ask how many times in business have you received a handwritten thank you card or a CD with a Lexus or something like that? The odds are very few, right? Which means it is more memorable. I remember when I was working, done in other industries, but I run a session which I call analog is the new digital, right? And the reason I say that is as everybody gets electronic and communication goes from phone to email, what it actually does is take us away from our clients. You might send me 15 emails a year, but to me they're spam in a lot of cases. What I'm saying is the analog relationship is the human contact on the phone call, the CDs, the Lexus, the November 27 card. The November 27 card doesn't make the money. It's a phone call afterwards that catches you up with your client that actually says, you're important enough for me to take time out of my life to see how you're going. And unfortunately, my perception is that's becoming more and more rare in the marketplace as we get digitized. But the upside is any broker can do it and still appear to be better than their competition just on the simple follow-up and differentiation.
That is incredible. Martin, I think we might leave it there. Thank you so much. There's so much there to unpack and go through. But if the guys want to find you, where can we find you online?
Yeah, just at martingrunstein.com.au. And if any of the brokers out there want to send me a link to their website, I'll look at it from a critical customer's point of view and I'll critique it. But please be prepared. I may not be nice if your website is crap, around it. But if those have the courage to do that, all I want to do is seeing more brokers getting a bit of business profitability out there by doing things that don't cost money to implement.
That's amazing. Thank you again, Martin. Appreciate it.
Pleasure, Dave. Nice to chat to you.
Okay. Wow. That was seriously a lot of info there. A lot of amazing info there that I know you're going to take away and implement in your business. So I guess, continuing on that whole piece of where we need to be stress managers, but taking that further, and how can we use guarantees in our own businesses to build that trust with customers? How can we keep engaged with customers post-settlement and go beyond just a lame settlement gift or an annual review? What else can you do? How can you use that November 27th trick? Or even, I love the idea of giving them plant on settlement and then sending the plant a card after settlement. What can we do? So I think everyone who's listening to this and all the top brokers out there need to take some time out and just think about how we can move beyond all our lazy marketing that we've been using for years and what we can do to earn the right and to grow our businesses and get more referrals. Because really that's what it's going to be. If the commission structures change, if we go fee for service, it's going to be the brokers that are doing all these little things and earning the right from the customers to do more that are going to survive in that world. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I think there's so much there. You need to go back and listen to the episode again. If you want to hit Martin up, you can look at his website, martingrunstein.com.au. He's got a bunch of really good YouTube videos on there that I really would recommend checking out. And if you've got any comments or feedbacks for us, hit me up at topbroker.com.au. Would love to hear what you thought of the episode, or if there's any other guests you want me to get in the future. But yeah, that's it for this time. Until next time, see you guys.